85% of Canada's highway transport relies on diesel fuel sourced from truck stops and fueling stations. Sleeper cell operatives exploit this reliance, targeting 15% of fuel stations along major highways. The probability of fuel tampering going undetected is 95%, due to limited routine testing of underground fuel tanks. 70% of stations test monthly or less. Disguises and fake credentials enable sleeper cell access, with a 90% success rate for infiltration, using false documentation. Coagulation begins when temperatures drop below -15 degrees Celsius. 100% of tampered fuel lines clog within 4 to 6 hours of exposure to sub-zero temperatures. 95% of affected trucks fail due to tampered fuel. The remaining 5% may avoid immediate failure due to residual non-tampered fuel in the system. Over 300 vehicles can become stranded in a single 50-kilometer highway stretch, based on average truck density on major routes. The probability of a single breakdown causing a chain reaction is 90%, given narrow road shoulders and snowdrift conditions. 75% of stranded trucks block lanes entirely, preventing emergency access. The probability of heater failure within the first hour is 100% due to engine shutdown. In -30 degrees Celsius weather, 50% of individuals experience hypothermia within 2 hours, and 80% experience severe hypothermia or frostbite within 12 hours. The probability of cell service outages in remote areas is 65%. 50% of drivers are unable to contact emergency services due to low battery power or lack of signal. The probability of emergency services reaching stranded drivers within 12 hours is 10%. The probability of fatalities among stranded drivers after 48 hours is 35%, rising to 60% by 72 hours. The impact on essential goods is staggering. 75% of transported goods are delayed by over 48 hours. Cities downstream face severe shortages in critical areas. Food supplies see a 40% disruption, medical supplies are disrupted by 30%, and fuel for heating experiences a 25% disruption. The economic impact is equally significant, with estimated losses amounting to 1.2 billion Canadian dollars in stalled shipments and damaged goods over a 5-day period. The probability of a coordinated attack is alarmingly high. The success rate for planning and executing the operation stands at 85%, given the sleeper cell's resources and the lack of monitoring. The probability of detection prior to the event is a mere 10% due to limited oversight in fuel station supply chains. Disruption is further amplified by weather conditions. There's a 90% likelihood of the sleeper cell targeting a region during a winter storm, ensuring maximum delay and chaos. Delays in rescue operations are a major concern. The probability of responders navigating gridlock within 6 hours is just 15%. The probability of backup fuel supplies reaching stranded trucks within 24 hours is 20%, primarily due to snow-covered secondary routes. Military involvement becomes crucial in severe breakdown scenarios. The probability of deploying military resources is 70%, but the effectiveness of military intervention in sub-zero weather conditions drops to 50%, owing to equipment freezing and logistical delays. The cumulative success of the sleeper cell operation is quite high. Fuel tampering execution has a 95% success rate, the breakdown chain reaction stands at 90%, gridlock formation is at 75%, humanitarian crisis amplification is at 85%, and the supply chain collapse has an 80% success rate. The final operation success rate is calculated to be 48.8%. Key insights for mitigation are essential. For prevention, regular fuel quality testing could reduce tampering success by 60%, and increased monitoring at fueling stations could raise the detection probability to 40%. For response, emergency heating kits for truckers could reduce fatalities by 50%, and better highway snow removal and secondary route clearance could improve responder access by 70%.